Imagine you wake up in the morning, and the first thing you do is decide what to wear, then what to eat, then how to get to work. By lunch, you've already made 100 tiny decisions, and your brain is exhausted. Now imagine a different scenario. You wake up, put on the same gray shirt you wore yesterday, eat the same thing you ate yesterday, and think about nothing except what actually matters. Sounds boring? 410 people on this list, it's a billion-dollar formula. They're not just rich, they're strange. And their strangeness isn't random. It's a system that frees your brain from trivialities so you can focus on what matters. Today, 10 strange habits of 10 billionaires. And what connects them will surprise you more than the habits themselves. Elon Musk. Elon Musk schedules his day in 5-minute blocks. Every slice of time is a separate task. Meeting, call, decision, switch, another meeting. Breakfast is sometimes just a Mars bar. Lunch, he literally inhales in 5 minutes between two meetings. Doesn't sit at a table, doesn't pick a restaurant, shoves food in and runs. Musk has said that time is the only asset you cannot buy. Money can be earned, connections can be built, but time, no. So he breaks it into the tiniest pieces to not lose a single minute. Former Tesla and SpaceX employees have said this schedule burned people around him. Because if the boss lives in 5-minute chunks, they expect the same from you. The point is simple. Every decision, what to eat, where to eat, when to eat, costs resources. Remove these decisions, and space opens up for what matters. Rockets, cars, brain chips. Musk saves mental energy on trivialities to spend it on what changes the world. But here's what's interesting. If Musk removes choice from food, the next person on our list went even further. He removed choice not just from food, but from clothing, and added something so strange that many didn't believe it until he confirmed it himself. Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg spent a year eating only meat from animals he killed personally. This is not a joke. He wrote about it on Facebook in 2011. If he wanted pork, he went to a farm, killed the pig, cooked it, and ate it. He said this helped him understand where food comes from and what it costs. At the same time, every single day, the same gray t-shirt. Not because he's poor, because he doesn't want to waste energy on choosing clothes. His closet has dozens of identical gray shirts. Wakes up, puts it on. Zero thoughts, zero decisions. Everything goes into the product, the metaverse, the algorithms. 2 habits, meat from his own hands and a uniform, serve the same idea. Remove the noise. Remove the choice. Save energy for what actually matters. Zuckerberg, like Musk, sees food and clothes as consumables. Not pleasure, not self-expression, just fuel and a shell. But if Zuckerberg chose a gray shirt and meat from his own hands, the next person found an even more radical way to simplify his life. He decided the body is a machine, and if you put the right fuel in, it regulates itself. No chemicals, no compromises, no midleme. Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs ate only carrots and apples for weeks. Being vegan, he believed this diet cleansed the body and mind. Apple colleague in the 80s said he literally smelled like carrots. And here's the strangest part. Being vegan, he was convinced he didn't need deodorant. That proper nutrition itself eliminates odor. People around him didn't always share this confidence. Psychologists call this an extreme form of self-control. Jobs believed the body is a machine, and if you put the right fuel in, it regulates itself. This wasn't just a diet. It was a way of thinking about himself and the world. Minimalism in its purest form. If Zuckerberg removed choice from clothing and Musk from food, then Jobs removed choice from everything related to the body. One food, no chemicals, no compromises. But here's what's curious. If Jobs believed proper nutrition solves all problems, the next billionaire holds the exact opposite philosophy. He thinks 6,000 calories a day is fine if you're happy. And food isn't science, it's pleasure. Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett drinks 5 cans of cherry Coke a day. 3 cans at lunch, 2 in the evening. And this isn't regular Coke, specifically cherry with caffeine and sugar. He calls it the elixir of life. But the strangeness isn't just the drink. His breakfast depends on how the market performed that day. If the market is up, Buffett eats bacon, eggs, and cheese. If it's down, the same thing, but cheaper. A joke, of course. In reality, he eats almost the same thing always. Either a sausage sandwich or scrambled eggs. But here's what's important. He consciously follows no diets, counts no calories, doesn't run in the mornings. Says 6,000 calories a day is fine if you're happy. And here's the key point. Buffett saves mental energy not on food, but on investments. He doesn't think about what to eat. He thinks about where to put the next billions. Food is fuel, not ritual. If Jobs turned food into philosophy, Buffett turned it into background, something that just exists while you do real work. But if Buffett eats at a table, the next hero solves the hardest questions of his life without sitting at all. He says the best ideas don't come in the office, but in motion. Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos solves complex problems by simply walking. Not sitting at a desk, not in a meeting room, just walking. He said the best decisions are born not in the office, but in motion. Morning walk, afternoon walk, sometimes for several hours. And here's what's interesting. He doesn't listen to music, doesn't talk on the phone, doesn't listen to podcasts. Just walks and thinks. The brain works differently in motion. Blood circulates better, neural connections activate differently. Bezos used this for Amazon's most important decisions. Whether to launch a new product, whether to buy this company, whether to enter this industry. All of it on his feet, not at a computer, not in the boardroom. Alone, in steps and rhythm. If Buffett turned food into background and Bezos turned desk work into walks, the next person went a similar path but from a different angle. He also removed choice from food, but made it even simpler. He found one dish he loves and eats it always. No matter who his guest is. Bill Gates. Bill Gates. Bill Gates drinks 3 to 4 cans of Diet Coke a day. This was confirmed by his Microsoft colleagues and friends. He doesn't drink coffee, doesn't drink tea, only this specific soda. And here's another detail. If you have lunch with Gates, you'll eat cheeseburgers. No matter who you are, president, investor, journalist, a cheeseburger will be in front of you because Gates loves them. And he sees no point in pretending. No fine dining restaurants, no business lunches, no attempts to impress. Just cheeseburgers and Coke. Again, saving mental energy. No need to choose a menu. No need to behave specially. No need to play a role. Everything went into code, philanthropy, solving global problems. Gates and Buffett, friends for decades. And both chose the same strategy. Find simple food that works and don't change it. But if Gates drinks Coke and eats cheeseburgers, the next person found an even more exotic way to stay energized. He doesn't drink coffee, doesn't eat energy bars, he drinks tea. A lot of tea. An insane amount of tea. Richard Branson. Richard Branson. Richard Branson drinks about 20 cups of tea a day. 20. That's almost 1 cup every waking hour. He says tea is his way to stay energized without caffeine, which makes him too jittery. But the strangeness isn't just the quantity. Branson lives on his own private island in the Caribbean. Not on a yacht, not in a penthouse, on an island. He bought it in 1978 for $180,000, and since then it's been his base. He works from there, holds meetings from there, makes decisions from there. The island isn't luxury, it's a tool. Isolation from noise, from news, from gossip. 20 cups of tea and a private island. It's a way to control the environment around you. Not adapt to the world, but make the world adapt to you. If Bezos retreats into walks to think, Branson retreats to an island to live. But if Branson controls the environment around him, the next person went in the opposite direction. He didn't retreat from the world. He dug through his enemy's garbage cans. Literally. Larry Ellison. Larry Ellison. Larry Ellison, founder of Oracle, hired private detectives to dig through Bill Gates's garbage looking for dirt. This isn't a rumor. It's a confirmed fact from court documents of the 90s. Out of pure competitive spirit, Ellison and Gates were corporate enemies, and Ellison went to extreme measures. Detectives climbed into garbage cans, looked for papers, documents, any dirt. This isn't about saving energy. This isn't about discipline. This is eccentricity in its purest form. A billionaire with tens of billions spent time and money spying on a competitor through garbage. Psychologists say this level of competitiveness often has no boundaries. Victory becomes more important than the game itself. Ellison didn't just want to beat Gates. He wanted to humiliate him, and garbage cans were the tool. If everyone else on this list saves energy on trivialities, Ellison spent it on obsession. This isn't strategy, it's character. But if Ellison is the extreme of obsession, the next person is the extreme of discipline. He found one product that works and eats it 3 times a day, every day, and he himself invested money in this product. Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban eats the same thing for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Low-carb cookies from one brand. And here's the final twist. He himself invested in this brand. So he literally eats his own product 3 times a day, every day, not because he can't afford anything else, because it works. The cookies give the right amount of protein and fat, minimal carbs, and require zero thought. No need to cook, no need to order, no need to choose. Open the pack, eat. Morning, noon, evening. Cuban said his day is scheduled by the minute, and food is just fuel. Not pleasure, not social ritual, not culture. Fuel. And he found fuel that works and stopped changing it. If Buffett and Gates found their simple food, Cuban went further. He turned food into an investment that he then eats. But if Cuban eats cookies 3 times a day, the last hero of our list went in a completely different extreme. He decided the best way to control the body is to not feed it at all. 2 days without food. And he says this gives him euphoria. Jack Dorsey. Jack Dorsey. Jack Dorsey, co-founder of Twitter, practices multi-day fasting. He said he fasted on weekends, from Friday evening to Sunday evening. 48 hours without food, and claimed this gives him a state of euphoria. That fasting clears the mind, improves focus, gives unusual clarity. On weekdays, he ate only once a day, in the evening, and usually just salad or fish with vegetables. Dorsey said this made him feel more efficient, more disciplined, more free. Psychologists warned that multi-day fasting without medical supervision is dangerous. But for Dorsey, this wasn't a dietary choice. It was a way of control. Control over the body, control over time, control over desires. If you can go 2 days without eating, you can do anything. If Cuban found fuel and stopped thinking about food, Dorsey removed food as a category. Completely. For 2 days. This is the maximum form of saving mental energy. Remove the need itself. Conclusion. 10 strange habits of 10 billionaires. And if you look closely, in 8 out of 10 cases, these habits serve the same idea. Saving mental energy. Remove choice. Remove noise. Remove trivialities that drain strength. Musk divides the day into 5 minutes. Zuckerberg wears 1 shirt. Cuban eats 1 cookie. Bezos solves everything on walks. Buffett drinks the same Coke. Gates eats the same cheeseburgers. Branson drinks 20 cups of the same tea. All of them, in their own way, remove extra decisions to make room for what matters. 2 exceptions, Jobs and Ellison. Jobs was an eccentric by nature. His habits weren't a tool. They were character. He believed the body is a machine and proper fuel solves everything. This was philosophy, not strategy. Ellison isn't eccentricity. It's obsession. He didn't save energy. He spent it on hatred. Garbage cans, private detectives, lawsuits. This isn't efficiency, it's emotion. But in the other 8 cases, strangeness isn't randomness. It's strategy. Strategy worth billions. Each of them found their point where trivialities stop being trivialities and become a system that frees the head for what matters. And in this, perhaps, is the most important lesson. Not what they do, but what they stop doing. Stop choosing. Stop thinking about food. Stop sitting at a table. Stop playing roles. And maybe that's the secret. Not in the Coke, not in the tea, not in the cookies, but in the fact that these things stopped being a choice and became background. Background on which real work is drawn.